the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. With your hosts, Joe Bond and AJ Appleton.
Touchdown!
All right. Welcome to the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. AJ is unfortunately able to join us tonight. Last minute change here, so apologize for starting late. I know we usually do, but it wasn't. He was actually ready to jump on, and then something happened. So hopefully everything's all right with him. But I got the producer, Mike LaPlant, here ready to step in, and we'll get you guys ready for Week 5 of the NFL season. I'll get to the game in a second.
I hope we can be more entertaining than this game right now, but go on.
Right. It's pretty awful. So before we jump into everything, I just want to remind you guys, hit that subscribe button, that like button. Sorry, fixing my chair. Follow us, leave those comments. We appreciate it. And also, guys, we're 4 weeks in now getting into 5. Season's not over. There's still a lot of grind going on. Still a lot of decisions to make. Trades are going to be coming down the pipe for a lot of people. You know, you're going to need help answering those questions, need help setting those lineups all season long, getting those waivers. Subscribe to us over Fantasy Six-Pack, fantasysixpack.net/plans. Hit up that all access plan. Get access to all of our great content, all the award-winning rankings, and best of all, you get access to us two and countless other writers over Fantasy Six-Pack to ask us direct questions about your leagues. And that's kind of priceless, guys. Like, let's be real. Like, we're charging like $30 for the entire season. That's not a lot. And you're gonna get customized advice to where, some of these other sites that do this kind of stuff, they may not have that. They're going to have good content behind the paywall, but it's all pretty generic. And our content, is good too. Also generic. We try to make it deep, but that Discord's where it's at. Get in on that. And go ahead and ask us those questions. We're going to skip Beer of the Week because Mike was not ready because, why would he be? He's supposed to be behind the mic, but cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Anyway, let's jump into this really awful game. And we're watching the Denver Broncos on national television again. Aren't we excited?
3 times in 5 weeks in prime time.
I mean,
that's enough. That's enough.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the schedule, but I really, really hope we don't have to see them again for a while. It's been pretty awful. I mean, this team has been flat coming out of the gates here. Tonight they are winning 6-0 with 30 seconds to go in the second quarter. So not great things going on here. Now, of course, we know they lost Javonte Williams last week to the ACL tear, gone for the year. So with that in mind, I think everybody sort of is expecting, and for good reason, Melvin Gordon to be the guy going forward. But what's your take here on this backfield going forward? Are we excited about Melvin Gordon going forward?
I mean, it's like a 6 out of 10 on the excitement scale. It's like woohoo if you got him, but it's not like I'm not going out and going, hey, I need to have Melvin Gordon. Not the way this offense has been through 4 weeks, and hell, frankly, through 4 weeks and half a game.
4.5, yeah.
So we all thought, the big thing with the backfield for the Broncos was the scoring opportunities. Obviously, the volume was going to be there, but the scoring opportunities was really going to bump up their ceiling this year. I haven't seen it through 4 weeks, 4.5 now. So I think Melvin Gordon's a nice, safe running back for the rest of the season. Mike Boone's going to be sprinkled in there. And then we got news of Latavius Murray getting signed off the practice squad for the Saints. And that's just going to muddle it up even more. I mean, personally, I think he'll probably take the number 2 role over Boone. What do you think?
I don't disagree with you on that, on the Latavius Murray Boone take. I do also agree with you that Melvin Gordon's going to be the guy. He kind of expected a 50-50 split, right? And that's kind of what we were getting, slightly in favor of Javonte Williams, already this year. But
Yep.
a lot of that was fumbles, right? I mean, he just got kind of, sent into the doghouse last game, right? Because he fumbled. And even when Williams got hurt, it was like, well, now you can still sit over there and watch. But already this game, we've got 7 carries for Gordon, just 1 for Boone, 2 targets for Gordon, just 1 for Boone. So it's very heavy Gordon right now. But again, just no production. 12 yards rushing, 25 yards receiving. That's kind of nice, but we need more, man. Something's got to give. I had just gotten off the Going for Two podcast last night with Jeff Lambert, good friend of the show, and talked about how I was sort of seeing the arrow pointing back in the right direction for this offense. And Wilson, we saw good things last week. Wilson was kind of getting out of the pocket and doing his things. Not that he's like a big runner anymore, but like just kind of those breaking down
scrambling,
the play, broken down
the play,
right? Extending the play, just being chaotic, right? That's what Russell Wilson was before, and then just dropping dimes to Judy and Sutton. He was doing it last week. This week, not so much. And they just showed the stats of Wilson, the number of dropbacks. He's barely been hit. He's barely been pressured. So he's just not connecting tonight. And now, the Colts defense is way better than the Raiders, but I don't know. I keep thinking that the switch is gonna flip for this team, but man, it's getting harder and harder to believe.
It's maybe it's like a 3-part switch. It's 25%, 50. That one gets to 75. I don't know.
They've got a dimmer. They've got a dimmer on it, right? Yeah,
yeah, it's a dimmer. There we go. They're fancy.
Oh man. So, on the other side of the ball, right?
We got points for the Colts.
Yeah, 3 points. Yeah, 6-3. We're watching baseball. On the other side of the ball, we obviously know Jonathan Taylor ruled out this game. Nyhiem Hines we were all hoping to be the guy, right? I mean, not that we think Nyhiem Hines is a stud and going to be a workhorse back, but the volume he could potentially get, especially catching passes out of the backfield. And then, he's going to see an uptick in carries just because of vacated carries, right? We expected Deion Jackson and Phillip Lindsay to get involved, but unfortunately Nyhiem Hines got the Tua concussion where he got up and just completely wobbled
on the third play of the game. So unfortunate.
Brutal. I mean, just brutal. You hope everything is okay with this guy, but I guess I haven't really heard much about Taylor's injury being long term, but let's just play it out. Taylor, say he's gone a couple extra games. Let's say Hines is probably out a game or 2. Let's just play the scenario out. Who do we like more, Deion Jackson or the recently signed Phillip Lindsay, who right now actually has more carries?
He looks good. He looks fresh.
He looks fresh. I've always liked Phillip Lindsay. I always thought he got a raw deal.
But Deion Jackson looked good on his first play of the game. He had a nice, I believe it was a nice 10-yard carry, somewhere around there. But since then, Phillip Lindsay's been looking like the guy. Granted, I mean, there's not much to look at in this game right now.
There's not. Going into half. Woohoo!
I think they're going with the safe guy. That's why they wanted to go with Nyhiem Hines. It was a guy they trusted. He was the number 2 guy behind Taylor. They trusted him in the passing game. They trusted him with pass pro, and they were going to trust him with the majority of the workload, moving on without Taylor in this game. But now that he's, knocked out for the time being, I can see Phillip Lindsay kind of squeezing into this role if Jonathan Taylor is out for a longer period of time. Because like you, I haven't heard much about this being long term.
Yeah. So, hopefully he can come back. But I mean, also really, not that I think Lindsey or Jackson or anybody's going to take Jonathan Taylor's, touches here, but what's your worry meter on somebody like Jonathan Taylor who, like, when he returns, I mean, he's been bad this season.
And not only has he been bad, but just like we keep reiterating, time and time again, this offense is just bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
but Jonathan Taylor, 81 attempts.
Yep. The volume is there.
328 yards on the season. Am I reading that right? Yeah. Thanks to a 161 yard outburst in week 1. But just the one touchdown, I mean, are we?
It's kind of been the touchdowns. He hasn't been scoring. This offense hasn't been scoring. The volume is there, which gives you a very solid floor. 10 plus points a week, but we're not getting those ceiling weeks like we did last year with these 2-3 touchdown games that he was getting, at least through 4 games so far. This offense needs to figure it out. This offensive line needs to figure it out because this 100%. Offensive line has just been going through injuries and flip-flops throughout the positions. I remember watching the pregame, and they were saying how because of the injuries, they had to move the starting left tackle to the right tackle position, and their starting right tackle is now playing right guard, which he played in college, and they got a rookie at left tackle. Like, that's just...
And I believe he's already gotten called for holding twice that I've seen, maybe more. So that's
just
not
a
good.
Recipe for nothingness.
Yeah, it's not good. So moving on here to some other
I never
news.
really answered your question, though. My worry meter is probably, again, like a 5 to 6.
That's a good call. Yeah, I actually didn't get the answer. I wasn't.
I distracted you.
I wasn't thinking about it. All right, so let's get into some other news here that we've had since the last time we all met. And Brian Robinson. I don't know if a rookie can get comeback player of the year, but yeah, Denver's defense has more fantasy points than Wilson.
Man,
you start with 10. IDP, I guess you have a good chance of doing that. Yeah, it's not good.
You play IDP. This is your game.
Yikes. Yeah. So Brian Robinson, man, like I said, if a rookie could somehow get comeback player of the year, that would be phenomenal. But don't know if it'll happen. But still, this is a great story. Brian Robinson back at practice. I don't know if he'll suit up this week, but he's already apparently looking really good at practice. What's your thoughts on how this Commanders backfield kind of shakes out?
Well, I just want to say,
once Robinson returns,
he's got to be doing something right. I read a tweet today that he made Ron Rivera change an expression on his face. When was the last time you've seen that? He's kind of like Ron Rivera's kind of like Belichick. He doesn't express anything. It's just straight. So to actually hear that is a little shocking. And I think Ron Rivera is very excited to use Brian Robinson just how he intended. Well, he was talking in the preseason. I think if healthy, obviously he's going to come in on a snap count. It'd be stupid not to. But all this positive news, I'm loving it, man, especially with all this bad news we've been going through. I like hearing this story about Brian Robinson being able to make it back, possibly week 5, week 6. That's fantastic.
So question for you. If he's out there on your waiver wire, are you picking him up and stashing him?
Yes. Yes, yeah. I would stash him. He's worth a stash. Obviously, he's not worth a start just yet. We got to see how it plays out after the snap count, snap count threshold he's going to be walking into. And this team, frankly, is maybe a step above the Colts in offense. So it's not great.
Yeah, it didn't look that way after the first 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, I know. Well, great matchups, man. One of those games was the Lions. You played the Lions. That's the matchup you want to be playing your fantasy players against this year is the Lions.
Even Seattle.
Man, dude, what happens when the Bears or the Broncos play the Lions? Because the Bears are playing the Lions two games this year.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough week.
That'll be interesting. I don't know what I'm going to think about that. Like, I mean, you'll give a little boost, I guess, but man, those offenses just aren't. That's an
Yeah, I
interesting
know.
matchup.
That's a thinker.
Definitely is.
I
So yeah, my take on this is, look, I had actually drafted Brian Robinson in a couple of spots. Thankfully, I had IR I could throw him in, so I'm excited to get him back. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. It is a wait and see. Even if he comes back in the first week, he only gets 7, 8 carries,
10, maybe
for 25, 30 yards. I'm just gonna hold off. I'm not gonna cut him. Be like, oh, he's gone. He sucks. Guys, dude got shot. Seriously, I mean, I never had it happen, but I can't imagine it's easy to come back from. But I think he's worth, kind of waiting and seeing what's going to happen for a couple of weeks when he comes back. Another guy coming off the pup here shortly, it sounds like, is Gus Edwards. He's back at practice. Again, we don't know if he's returning this week, although Justice Hill apparently is on the wrong side of questionable, so it's possible they kind of
more
push the envelope for Gus Edwards, I guess. But want to get your thoughts here. So let's say Dobbins, Edwards, Hill are all healthy. I mean, we've seen Hill kind of take over that number 2 role. Drake is kind of a forgotten guy already. Mike Davis already a forgotten guy. Seems like Justice Hill kind of took over that role. With Gus Edwards back in the mix, is it Dobbins Edwards? Is it Dobbins Hill? Is it all 3? How do you think it plays out?
Man, you are talking to a J.K. Dobbs truther. I am a believer in him. I do.
But they don't give it to just one guy.
Well, I'm also tempering my expectations here too. The guy's coming off a gruesome injury. I love seeing that he's back and looking actually pretty good. For coming off as bad of an injury as he has. But I believe in the numbers. I trust the probability here, and I want the guy who's on the field majority of the time. And this is the guy they've been waiting to have back and healthy. I mean, ever since he went down, they have just been a carousel of veteran rookie running backs that they just throw out and recycle right after the other. Mike Davis, Kenyon Drake, Le'Veon Bell, Tyson Williams. So I really do believe that they want J.K. Dobbins to be the main guy. Now, what is their version of the main guy? A 50% workload, 60% workload,
maybe. Right now he's seeing let's see here. Open up the right tab. I'll get back. I
was just gonna say because the one game that J.K. Dobbins kind of played in, he got he's on the field for 30% of the snaps, which is more than Kenyon Drake. I mean, it's more than Justice Hill has been on the field. I mean, the only running back he hasn't been on the field more than is Patrick Ricard. And it's because
that's a fullback. That doesn't count. Dobbins in week 3, his returning week was 43.3%, and then last week was 50% of the snaps. He ran on 26.9 and 37.1 of those snaps. So, the increase is good. Of course, last week he saw the 2 touchdowns kind of early. He's still not seeing a ton of usage, right? Just 7 attempts, and then 13's fine. The efficiency is not there. He just scored last week, but again, they're gonna mix in a second guy. So the question is, who's the second guy? Is it gonna be Edwards or Hill when it's all said and done?
It's gonna be Edwards. Hill is a fill-in, just like Mike Davis, just like Kenny Drake, just like all of them. Hill is a fill-in for now. It's gonna be a split, more of I wouldn't say committee. It's going to be a split backfield between Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, but they're going to ease in Gus Edwards just like they are easing in J.K. Dobbins. So I think we got a nice soft spot here of some prime J.K. Dobbins weeks, waiting for Gus Edwards to get back into this rotation. And then it's going to see a little bit of a drop in value. but I still think it's a solid RB2 in an offense that is
No,
high scoring, and they're not running it as much as we thought they would, but they still run it, and that's what we like. You know, he's getting the rushing attempts, and you said that J.K. Dobbins hasn't been efficient this year. That was all his game his rookie year was efficiency.
Yeah, like 6 yards average carry. In fact, him and Edwards.
Yep.
Both man, they're both nasty, dude.
So I can see it turning around. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, I agree. I do. You know, again, Dobbins is the man, but I also think it's going to be Gus, and Gus is going to be flex worthy a lot of weeks. Believe it or not, like, that's how that offense rolls when they are clicking that way. And again, man, like, you know, they're not running the ball as much. Lamar's taking a ton of it right now. They're also not passing it a lot, but they're still scoring a crap ton of points. They have these like big plays. Lamar, when he runs, he's getting like 50-yard chunks. It feels like, man, it's just crazy. So like they don't have a lot of plays. And then, you know, Duvernay's getting, you know, 40-yard bombs. Bateman, when he actually touches the ball, it's like 40-yard bombs. So it's like these crazy, like big plays. That's what it is. And it's hard to trust, honestly. But I think once this running game gets going, we're going to see more of this, you know, the old 2020 Baltimore Ravens when they were like, they were hard to get off the field because you could not stop the running game. But we got a couple
that's what they want to do.
Yeah, we got a couple questions actually here from Yee. Trade Justin Jefferson for Mike Evans, Tyler Higbee, and Eli Mitchell. I'm 3-1, redraft full PPR.
I mean, are you going through some injuries right now? Because I do like it. It's good value both ways.
That is really good value. I mean, are you like a lucky 3? I would say like if you're a lucky 3-1, your point total is low. You actually need to build depth up to keep it rolling. Then I'd say do it. But if you're 3-1 and you're just rolling, you do not trade. Higbee, not Higgins. Then 100% no, dog.
Yeah, the value on that just
no. You do not trade. You know, arguably the second best receiver in fantasy outside of Cooper Kupp for Mike Evans.
You don't think that, but yes.
What?
Little teaser. You don't think that? I looked at your rankings.
Oh, this week. I have. No.
But yes, I know what you meant. I'm just giving you shit.
Yeah, it's not Evans. Oh, did I say Higbee? Not Higbee, Higgins. I thought I said Tyler. I did say Tyler Higgins.
Oh, did you say Tyler Higbee?
Just kidding. So it is Higgins.
I thought you said.
Who did? I don't know what am I thinking? What's Higgins' first name?
T.
Jesus. They both start with a T. I'm sorry. He's yelling at me. It's not Higbee. Sorry. Okay, so I go back to my initial thoughts here. So it's Jefferson for Evans, Higgins, and Eli Mitchell. I think if you need the depth and you're like a lucky 3-1, you've won by like, you know, 5 points or less, you've got a low 0.4. Then I say, you know, pull the trigger. If not, man, it's hard to give up this top dog in Justin Jefferson, who we saw last week, even without a touchdown, just blew up. I mean, that's what he can do. Him and Cooper Kupp are both capable of doing that every single week. Evans isn't, Higgins isn't, and Eli Mitchell definitely isn't. So, like, you know, they're all three very good players. It's hard, man, because then you're also taking on the injury of Mitchell, and Mitchell's out for at least another month, at least.
And he's saying his flex right now is Olave and Alec Pierce. I mean, Olave is
good. Alec Pierce should not be. Oh, no. He's probably Damian Pierce.
Damian Pierce. Why am I thinking?
No, you're fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, those are great options.
Keep the top dog. Keep the better player in Justin Jefferson. That's going to win your league more than depth, in my opinion, at this point. So yeah, it sounds like you've already got some decent depth, so you're good. All right, another question here from Caden, the Colts fan. Would you trade Mike Evans for DeAndre Swift? I have Godwin and Justin Jefferson. I mean, if you're only starting two receivers,
I don't like having two top end receivers from the same offense, though. You really limit you capping your ceiling there.
I get it.
I mean, you got Justin Jefferson. I think you have the ability.
I like it. I mean, Swift's going to be out for a couple more
Evans.
weeks. It's hard to find good running backs, man.
It
Someone
is.
wants to trade Evans for Swift. I mean, I like Evans, but let's be real. The dude is like, what, 5 for 70 and hopefully a touchdown every week is what it feels like his line is. I mean, am I wrong? I feel like I'm not wrong there, right?
No, you're not. And
so
I like Swift rest of the season as long as he's healthy. And they're resting him. It's a smart play.
Yeah, you just gotta if you can eat it for a few weeks, do the move, Caden. And then we got a good friend Bob Dole here.
Bob Dole.
Who do I put in flex? Smith, Schuster, Najee Harris, or Lockett? I also have Godwin. You've got to give me, Bob. I'm pretty sure your leagues are full, right? So you've got to give me the scoring format here so I can answer that question because I have a funny suspicion it will matter in this scenario.
Oh, well, it's because you always had that suspicion with Najee Harris.
No,
whether it's full.
Honestly, man, Lockett and Godwin are pretty close. I think it's.
I was gonna say because Najee Harris is definitely he used to be one of those guys we set it forget it. Not no more the way his usage has been trending down. It is
full.
Yep, 12 man.
So we got Smith. I'm just trying to look up names here. So that's there.
I don't think you play Najee this week against Buffalo when you got Lockett and Godwin as options. I think I'm with you.
I think it's Godwin.
Lockett's
safer because it feels like he gets peppered with targets. Godwin has slightly more touchdown upside, in my opinion.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I think.
I mean, Godwin in his first game back caught 7 receptions. So I mean, like I say maybe Lockett's safer, but maybe not. I think Godwin's the guy.
I think Lockett is a little bit safer just because he's going to get the targets because the Seattle Seahawks are going to have to pass the ball. Tampa Bay is not always going to have to pass the ball. So I do agree that with you with Godwin have the higher ceiling, Lockett being the safer play. It's
but
how do you
here's
like to play?
The thing. Brady wants to go out hard early, right? So they're going to pass the ball early. And if they get up early, how are they going to do it? It's usually the pass.
It's true.
So Godwin could just get his early, and then they kind of take the pedal off, and then in comes Fournette.
I think, honestly, for me this week, it's Lockett, but rest of the season, it's Godwin. Like those two.
It is close, man. It's very close for me in PPR. So
if it was half,
I just think, New Orleans' defense is far better than Atlanta's.
I just like the fact of the volume in PPR really does matter. A free point just for getting a catch at the line of scrimmage, it's cheating a little bit.
But Godwin plays that Lockett role in Tampa.
So does Russell Gage, so does Leonard Fournette, and so does Rachaad White, it looks like.
Let's be real. We're not comparing any of those dudes to
I'm just saying that the underneath the drop-off type of role, which is that Lockett role.
All right. So, Bob, sorry, we probably didn't really help you there. At least we narrowed it down to 2. Guess you can figure it out from there.
It's between Godwin and Lockett. Are you risking it for the biscuit?
I've got trophies to back up my decision. I don't know if Mike does.
I got guts and intuition. That's it.
I'm messing with you, man. All right, let's move over here to the last couple pieces of the news, and we'll start with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kenny Pickett finally in. If you guys had read my article 2 weeks ago, the Bombs Banter article that I write on Monday mornings, I wrote in there that I had no idea how the Steelers were going to go and keep true to their word where they were going to sit Pickett all year long because Trubisky looked absolutely miserable.
Worse than Ben.
Just looks awful. Like he doesn't belong on an NFL field. And it was really hurting all of the positional players on this team, right?
Yep.
So last week, finally pulled the plug, put in Kenny Pickett. And look, Kenny Pickett wasn't awesome. He did throw 3 picks. One, I want to say wasn't his fault.
One was a Hail Mary.
Yeah, I mean, one was a Hail Mary. So what are you going to do, right?
One bounced off the receiver's hands.
Yeah, so again,
really
not horrible, but what I liked with Pickett, in my opinion, was that like he was able to scan the field a little bit more. He was able to extend some plays, keep this offense on the field, right? And so that's huge. Keep the offense on the field, give these guys more of a chance to make plays, right?
Yep. As you're finding out watching Thursday Night Football, 3 and outs do not produce fantasy points.
Absolutely not.
When the Steelers are getting 3 and outs with Mitch Trubisky, there's not much fantasy value to be had there. So with Kenny Pickett coming in and extending these drives, there's potential for more fantasy value and potential for more touchdowns here, as long as Kenny Pickett doesn't become a scavenger and start running him in like crazy.
Yeah, which he did. Yeah, he got a couple, which I have Najee in a couple spots and was not happy. But that being said, let's think about this fantasy wise. I don't think anybody's really starting Kenny Pickett in a whole lot of leagues. Superflex maybe, but that's almost sort of desperation at that point.
Yep.
What we're looking at here is we're looking at Deontay, we're looking at Pickens, we're looking at Claypool, Freiermuth, Najee Harris. What's your take on these guys going forward with Pickett in there compared to Trubisky?
First of all, I think it's a big jump for Pickens. You're looking at the guy who was throwing him the ball all throughout preseason training camp. It was Kenny Pickett throwing to Pickens. So I do like Pickens' value immediately right out the gate here, and we saw it firsthand. All right, but I do believe, we do have a team with Deontay Johnson here. This guy is a target hog, and he will take that role back over, because Pickens kind of stole it for, that half that Pickett was in.
Yeah. There's a tweet that went out, and I was going to say it, so I'll just kind of cut into it now. I'm not sure if Matthew Berry was like the initial source of it, but he had his researchers come up with the stats, and obviously Pickens with Kenny Pickett, Pickens saw 30.7% of the target share. Freiermuth with the exact same amount. Deontay was all the way down to 15.3, and Claypool was 7.6. So
they were relegated to deep targets. Claypool and Deontay. They weren't really, the underneath the safe guys that, Mitch Trubisky was using, Big Ben was using. And I'm not surprised at all here with the rookie quarterback. He likes to look to the tight end, and he's going to look to the guy who had the most chemistry with in preseason. And that's George Pickens.
Yeah.
So initially out the gate, I think it's a good jump, because you kind of took my other guy away, because I think it's a good jump for Pat Freiermuth as well, because rookies just love to throw to the tight ends.
Typically, yeah.
So right out the gates, right out the gates, first couple games, I like Pickens and Pat Freiermuth. They get an uptick, but I do expect Deontay Johnson to come back in here and demand a higher target share, because it is still Deontay Johnson's wide receiver room.
I said the same thing in. So I write the, I wish I could find a better name for it, but really what it is, it's the touches and targets and snap count trends report. I wrote it today, and so I put this little tidbit in here and talked about the Steelers receiver core, and I think it is a massive update for Pickens, is what we're seeing, right? But don't go crazy looking at one half of football, like you're saying with Deontay Johnson, and thinking, oh man, I gotta get rid of him. This offense is going to be, it is.
They're going to be going through another preseason right now.
It's not evolved. It's the right word. the surround, like this offense is dedicated to getting Deontay Johnson the ball, in my opinion, and it's going to return. Maybe he's not going to see the same target share, but it's still going to be good enough, right? And it's probably
it's going to be
better
20,
targets
25%.
than we saw. Probably higher than that, man. He was up at like 29 for the season. So it may not be that high, but it's going to be good still. But it's going to be, it probably will be better targets, right, than what we were seeing with Trubisky and maybe even
Pickett
Big Ben
showed
from last year.
The one thing I will just add before we move on here, because the one thing I liked about watching Kenny Pickett, and this isn't really fantasy wise, it affects it. It's more NFL. Pickett was not afraid to stand in the pocket and take that hit and deliver that throw. Mitch Trubisky just scrambles trying to extend a play. The play breaks down, and he doesn't know what to do from there. But Kenny Pickett showed poise, composure. He came in. The team rallied around him. Everybody looked like they weren't having fun playing for Mitch Trubisky. But Kenny Pickett came in, and they're like, oh, my God, is this what playing football and having fun is like?
When your quarterback doesn't play scared, it makes the entire offense better. And Kenny Pickett was not playing scared. He was willing to take a hit. He was willing to jump out and get, scramble, take a slight hit. You don't want to see your quarterback play stupid, but you want him to not play scared. And Trubisky played scared. Trubisky, like, if his first read wasn't there, he dropped his head, ran around with a chicken with its head cut off, and got sacked, or threw it away, or threw a pick, or it was bad. Pickett,
it was terrible.
Looked phenomenally better despite throwing 3 picks. But again, not really his fault.
2 of them weren't his fault.
Yeah. Last one here. Zach Wilson returned. Just want to get your give me 30 seconds on your initial thoughts on his season debut and the effect in fantasy.
Congrats on getting a comeback win. That first of all.
Against those Steelers, by the way.
No, I know. That's funny. Man, I love Elijah Moore. Big boost rest of the season for him with Zach Wilson coming back in because Moore was kind of showing a little bit of, with Joe Flacco with the chemistry. Now back with Zach Wilson. I mean, it's not a huge bump. We're still talking about the Jets here, but I do like it. The outlook for Elijah Moore the most for the rest of the season. Garrett Wilson's still going to be the guy. Conklin's taking a hit.
Yes.
Breece Hall's not going to be getting, 10 targets. So really the biggest bump here is Elijah Moore and a slight bump for Breece Hall because eventually he's going to be getting the major workload here.
So I agree on the Breece Hall thing. I am not totally sure I agree on the Elijah Moore.
Okay.
I would have liked to have seen more from him. Now he is still seeing by far the largest snap share out of all 3 receivers, Corey Davis and Garrett Wilson,
which is odd because he's the smallest.
But his targets just aren't there. On the season, he is tied with Corey Davis. Last week, he saw 4 compared to Corey Davis's 7 and Garrett Wilson's 6. So something's different. Like he's taking a different role in this offense. I don't know if he's just like a good blocker or what. Maybe he plays too much of the slot role and this offense doesn't, use the slot role. And again, I haven't looked at like what kind of routes he's running and things like that, or how many routes he's running. But
I can tell you right now, it's not all slot because you don't, lead the snap percentage on your wide receiving core by only playing in the slot. You know what I mean?
Well, but maybe
common sense doesn't, because Jets aren't always running 3 wide receiver sets.
That's true.
So for him to lead the snap share, it is promising. He's out there. You said, I haven't checked the routes either. That is one thing, we will have to take a deeper dive into. But I
do need to look into that more because I keep writing about the Jets and just how like weird this receiving core has been and how surprising it's been, really. And then to see what I actually am worried about is, so we actually saw like a decrease in targets for all 3 guys, and yet they won the game. So it's not like they were winning right? Or they had to come back to win the game, right? So it's not like they were winning and so they just like leaned on the run. It was they were losing and still threw less passes. So very odd.
It was very odd, and I think you got to look at it this way though. The defense probably played a big factor in that. I think it was a much slower pace of the game. It wasn't like I know this is week 1, but it wasn't like week 1 when they played the Ravens where it was bam right out the gate we're scoring because of that matchup against the Steelers offense. Very slow, sluggish.
Yeah,
I think that benefited the Jets in that ability. They didn't have to throw the ball as much like they had been, in the first 3 weeks.
Yeah, I can see that. All right, man. Well, let's jump into our rankings talk here. Jump into the rankings talk here. So what we do here, guys, is we're going to have Mike kind of grill me on my my Thursday rankings, and that's what we got. So we're gonna start with quarterbacks.
I give you credit here. You didn't, change him up on me 5 minutes before the show. So
I did it at like 4:00. Left him alone. Mostly.
Mostly.
All right.
But yeah, we'll jump right in here with our quarterbacks though. And I got a couple of good ones here for you, at least in my opinion. So we got your boy, Matthew Stafford, at QB 17 this week. We've come a long way since the preseason of having him ranked as that fringe one. I remember you telling me QB 12, 13, maybe 11. Is he a QB 2 for the rest of the season with how this Rams offense has performed through 4 games?
Sadly, yes. Until things start maybe moving in a different direction here. The O-line is just getting wrecked. Allen Robinson hasn't worked. It's basically Cooper Kupp and dump offs to Tyler Higbee. It's not good. The run game is just not there. Yeah, I mean, Stafford has thrown a whopping 0 touchdowns in the last 2 games combined.
How many interceptions?
Just 1, but still not good.
That's
not good.
That's better. It's better.
I mean, yeah, it was a 4 to 5 touchdown to interception ratio the first 2 weeks. So now it's 0 to 1.
Yeah, I mean,
is that better? I don't know. I think I'd rather have four touchdowns.
5-4.
Yeah, so something's got to give, man. It's just hard.
It's just shocking to see this when you have a guy like Cooper Kupp just dominating the number 1 wide receiver ranking. And you got a guy at wide receiver, QB 17. You know what I mean?
It is. I mean, we have seen this in other years, with some of these top-notch receivers. You get guys like, I mean, look, even like AJ Brown, like Tannehill wasn't like phenomenal. But AJ Brown could be really, really good, right? You see guys like that. We're going to probably talk about a guy later who their quarterback is okay, but because they're just getting peppered with targets, but the quarterback isn't scoring other ways, it just doesn't work. But yeah, I mean, they got to shore up this offensive line for Stafford, and especially this week against Dallas. He's going to get teed up on, man.
Oh my gosh. I know
it's going to be so bad.
That D-line is going to eat him alive.
They will kill him, dude. It's going to be bad.
I can't remember exactly what it was, but they're top 5 in sacks right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be brutal.
Yes, it is. So we'll move on to our next question because that was an all right answer. I'll give you that. 6 out of 10. I set you up with a very easy tee shot. All right, this one I'm really curious about. All right, you got Trevor Lawrence ranked at QB 12 this week after a miserable performance against Philadelphia, and he was kind of exposed a little bit. So, obviously, you're predicting a bounce-back week from him. Is this because he's against the Texans, or is this how you see him for the rest of the season as that fringe 12, 13 QB that you thought Stafford was going to be this year?
So it's more of the opponent, and I don't think Lawrence is nearly as bad as what we saw last week, right? That game was wet, sloppy, gross.
5 turnovers, I think he had.
I mean, he fumbled the ball, and then he threw one just disgustingly bad pick, which is honestly something he hasn't done this year. He hasn't thrown those just really ugly picks like he was throwing last year. It's only his second pick on the year, and he's really making smart decisions. I really like Lawrence's upside. Do I see him as a top 12 quarterback the rest of the year? I don't know. I don't do rest of season rankings. That's not my.
That was just kind of like a gut initial, because I mean he has come out the gates pretty well.
He's probably right around there, to be honest. I think even preseason I said, if things go right for Lawrence, I wouldn't be shocked if we're talking a top 8 QB.
Absolutely. Right? I remember I was with you in on that one. I remember getting made fun of for it.
Yeah. So last week I can kind of brush aside. Look, he did very well against the same Indy defense that Russell Wilson looks like a joke against. The Chargers he played phenomenally against. And then last week the weather just played such a factor. And Philly's defense is really good too. I mean, got to give them credit. They did very, very well against him. But
they look really good.
The weather was there. And then, Houston's bad, man. So let's be real. They're going to allow some points. I'm trying to look up the quarterback points allowed here by Houston. It's actually better than I thought, but I still just no.
You don't trust that. You don't trust that. It's Houston. I get it.
No. So I know we do have a question here. So Yee is back. Pick one, flex full PPR, Dameon Pierce, Olave, or Stevenson.
That one it's between Pierce and Olave in my opinion. Well, no, I take that back. It's between Olave and I think Stevenson because of PPR. I do like Dameon Pierce, but with it being PPR, Stevenson gets a bit of more of an uptick here. Olave's, man, I'm Stevenson in this situation.
I'm Dameon Pierce.
Are you?
I know. I know you want to lean the pass catcher because
he did get 6 targets last week.
But Dameon Pierce is getting so much work in that Houston offense. I just think,
but they're getting lucky with the game scripts that allow him to be in the game more often. That's my one concern. Because if Houston can't stay in the games,
Jacksonville is going to blow them out.
I mean, that's true. Because
better, but I don't think Jacksonville is going to blow them out. So it could.
They hung around with the Chargers, but the Chargers lost to the Jags.
1 week. We know the NFL.
I know. I love.
Do you
guys
this team A, B, team B does not mean team B.
I love doing that.
It doesn't work that way, right?
Stat for your own pleasure, man. I
legit good. Mr. Scammers, I get it. They are good, but I don't think the Jags are going to blow out Houston. Strangely enough, Houston has not really been blown out this year. So
they're
just kind of hanging around, and it's keeping Pierce's value up. So
they're pulling the old Lovie Smith. Let's just hang around.
Yeah, it's working. So we got a few more here. Let's try to rip through these real quick here. Absolutely. So Miles, I got offered James Robinson for Jonathan Taylor. Would you do it? No.
I'm not that scared.
I get the doubts of Jonathan Taylor right now, but no, that's a little too low in my
That's
book.
A classic sell high.
That's yes. That's a classic. Jonathan Taylor's not good, doing well, and he's hurt. You want James Robinson for him?
He's top 5.
James Robinson, you get rid of these 50-yard touchdown runs, and I get it, they happen, so it's hard. You can't get rid of them, but let's turn them into average plays, right? Let's turn them into 20-yard runs, or slightly above average plays. Let's turn them into 20-yard runs, 30-yard runs. Maybe only one of them scores. We're not talking about James Robinson the same way we are. And I think those, just law of averages, they're not going to continue, especially for a guy like James Robinson. And I do think the Jags want to get ETN more involved. We saw it last week even. They got him involved a lot more.
I think you could get a lot more for Jonathan Taylor than James Robinson. It is just a classic sell high. I mean, you probably offered Clyde Edwards-Helaire for Jonathan Taylor too, and you smash no to that one right away. I mean, James Robinson's kind of the same situation. He's hot out of the gates.
Yeah. Zero Destroyer. Hey, what up, you guys? A lot of people have been sending me a lot of trades. Cut to the chase here. Should I do Mixon, Conklin, and Jeff Wilson for Swift, Dalvin Cook, and CeeDee Lamb? My other running backs are Derrick Henry and I'm guessing Dameon Pierce. So, okay. So Mixon. So he's giving up Mixon, Conklin, Jeff Wilson for Swift, Dalvin, and CeeDee. Yes. Yeah. I mean, let's be real. Like Mixon and so you're getting two better running backs, arguably. Mixon and Swift are kind of the same. Dalvin, I mean, they're all kind of the same territory. But you're giving up a tight end who is his value is high because of Joe Flacco right now. Jeff Wilson is going to lose his value as soon as Mitchell comes back, and even Jeff Wilson without Mitchell is going to be kind of up and down. That's just how the 49ers roll. But you're getting a locked-in RB1, another locked-in with Swift, and another locked-in RB1 with Dalvin. And then, in my opinion, CeeDee Lamb, like, dude, this is a slam dunk.
I hate to say this, but the trade you're getting, Swift, Dalvin, and CeeDee, has two of the best players in this trade with Swift and Dalvin.
You could argue the three best players.
Yes, you could. I didn't want to go on. Really could.
Yeah,
but I'm taking.
Mr. Scampers agrees. By the way,
yes, that's a good trade. That's a good.
He's saying his tight end is Kittle. So yeah, I know Kittle hasn't been doing much, but I'm not expecting a whole lot from Conklin the rest of the way. So
he also asked if he did it, would he start Dameon Pierce or Dalvin Cook?
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, you start Dalvin. I mean, that's I like what Pierce is doing, but you start Dalvin.
Yep. Dalvin's just getting more volume. It's volume is king. The touchdowns will come.
Oh, I mean, so dude, Dameon Pierce and Dalvin are probably getting around the same amount of volume, by the way. But
I'd say total touches, I'd edge Dalvin Cook. But I mean, the thing is with Dalvin Cook, he doesn't have a touchdown on the year. Dameon Pierce has 2-3 touchdowns, I believe, on the year.
He has at least 2.
I know he has at least 2. Yes.
Do you know he has at least 2?
Cook has not scored yet. This touchdown regression is going to swing positively towards him, especially
Cook has 63 carries on the year. Dameon Pierce has 60. They're close. They're close. But I still lean Dalvin.
I still lean Dalvin as well.
More, a little less rushing yards, although a 75-yard run for Pierce really helped that. Cook does have 1 rushing touchdown, by the way.
Oh, he does? He did get a touchdown? Yes. Okay. I was wrong.
So, yes. Either way, it's close, but I lean Cook. He's just the better player.
Yep, better player, better offense.
And better offense. So, all right, let's move over here to our running backs. And
please and thank you. All right. On to our next one here. Did you know Nick Chubb's RB1 and half-point PPR, Joe?
I did. I wrote about it
but
in my Bonds Banter article. People should read that. It's pretty good stuff.
I mean,
I might notice some things.
I'm illiterate, and you make it easy enough for me to read. But if he's RB1 and half-point PPR, why we got Barkley ranked at RB1 and Chubb ranked at RB3? I mean, is this a issue of regressing back to the mean with Nick Chubb? Thinking Kareem Hunt's going to get more involved, or is he going to kind of fade off, or is he actually going to be this running back that can challenge Barkley for the RB1 position? Because it looks like Barkley was running away with it.
I think 1, 2, and 3, Barkley, Henry, Chubb are seriously splitting hairs here. And so when you look at it this week, Henry against Washington is like people are drooling over that one. That one's bad. Although, I mean, the more I look at it, really, the Chargers have not been doing very well against the run this year.
I know.
So,
not as bad as last year.
Chubb has a very, very nice matchup. Barkley going against the Packers. The Packers against running backs has been pretty good. Although I'm trying to think of who they've played. I know they've played like
Bears.
the Bears, like,
Stevenson, Damian Harris. They haven't been great against running backs.
But like, when you look at fantasy points against this early in the season, you really do have to factor in a lot about who have those opponents been, right? A bad defense is going to be a bad defense regardless, right? But, you look at like so let's say like a team that you didn't expect to be good against the run. You got to look at their opponents, right?
Yep.
And say, well, they didn't give up a lot of points because those running backs weren't very good. And that plays a big role in that. And so, but again, like these guys are also, if somebody wants to put Chubb number one, I probably wouldn't bat an eye to it. I think the one thing that splits Barkley and Henry just slightly away from Chubb is that Chubb still does have to deal with Kareem Hunt. That does play just enough into the equation where Barkley has nobody, Henry has nobody really taking touches away from them. And they both got pretty good matchups. So I'm going to stick with it.
All right. Stick with your guns. I get it. All right. Now this one's a fun one. Leonard Fournette. This one I know is right. Still has not scored a single touchdown this year. And you have him ranked at RB9 this week. Rachaad White came in last week and played.
Also wrong. He scored last week.
No, he didn't. Rachaad
Not
White
a rushing touchdown.
No, that was Rachaad White who scored, I'm pretty sure. Or am I? Now I got to look it up. You're freaking me out.
Sorry, you are wrong.
Am I wrong?
You are wrong.
Was that must have been a garbage time touchdown? That's why.
Probably.
That's why, because I remember Rachaad White getting the first one, and I was laughing because all the Leonard Fournette owners.
Fournette went 7 for 7, 57 yards, and a touchdown. In this
all right,
game.
All right. You gotta love garbage time. I am wrong on that one. All right, so be it.
You guys want to try to call me out? I'm going to call you out right back.
I get it. Hey, I will admit when I'm wrong. Rachaad White came in last week and played 37.5% of the snaps and looked good. He, like I said,
he did look good.
He was the first one to get the touchdown. Do you see this being a concerning factor for Fournette as a top 10 running back, kind of moving forward here a little bit? Because the volume is what was keeping him afloat.
Yes. So I do. Only because this team just doesn't feel like it's the same team. Now, look, last week was the first week they had all their boys back on offense, but the offensive line still isn't good. The defense isn't playing even close to the way we think they should be playing. So that's concerning. They've had some tough opponents, and so they've gotten behind. And so last week they made a very concerted effort, and they definitely did, to get White involved. And he looked good. But I think this offense, as far as the running game, is going to roll through Fournette, especially in games where the game script that we predict is going to go in Tampa's favor. And against Atlanta, I don't think anybody thinks this game script will not go in favor of Tampa. So you throw Fournette back up there, bunch of
it is concerning seeing only seeing 6 rushing attempts last week.
But dude, they got down,
they
got down so fast though.
I remember seeing the stat, the top 5 lowest amount of rushing attempts in
was
NFL
it 6,
season.
Man? I don't know why. I thought it was 4, but yeah, you're right. It was 6.
3 of the top 5
Gross.
lowest scoring rushing attempt games in NFL history, Tom Brady has been the starter for.
Yeah, I don't
It's
doubt
weird.
it.
He gets his way.
Yeah. So,
But
all right.
we move on
Receiver
here
time.
to the
Or
wide
we have more
receivers.
questions? Oh, we do
we
have
do?
more questions. We got
Absolutely.
more questions.
Go on to that.
Wow, man, you guys are hitting us up. All right. Where to leave off? Charger Lever super suck. Yeah, they kind of do right now, but they're banged up. But I still, yeah. I mean, like I said, if that was scampers. If you want to put Chubb number one, but I just love all the passing work that Barkley gets, and honestly, like Henry's seen quite a bit of it, way more than we thought he would. So let's see here. Scampers, yeah, Vegas, KC, Jags. So then, okay, here we go. Gary Clemens, pick 2.
He's being funny with the Roxanne. He thinks he's funny.
Okay, maybe you should join our Discord member and ask us over there. But I'll answer
why
here.
Can't you make that joke in that Discord channel you're in, Gary? Come on.
Come on, man. You got access to all of us over there. Juju, James Robinson, and Adam Thielen. Gary, is this full or half PPR?
It's full. It is full.
Is it full?
Yeah, this is home league. I
figured you would know. So that's why I asked. So
he's and full disclosure, he's playing me this week.
Oh, so you're not going to answer. All right,
I'll answer it for him. I got no problem. It's, in my opinion, in this one, it's probably full point PPR. Man, who do the Jags play again? That's my
Houston. That's your answer.
James Robinson. It's James Robinson. If it
your
wasn't
answer.
Houston, I'd be leaning Adam Thielen.
I would be too.
But with Houston as the matchup, I do lean James Robinson, because if they do get up, perfect game script for James Robinson.
Yep, 100%. I agree.
I hate that you asked this question while I'm on air, though.
Jump into the members Discord, Gary.
Yes.
You have access to it. Just jump in, verify your email. There's lots of good content on there, man. We have great conversations. Jump in, man.
Lots of
we would
advanced
love
stats
to
too.
have you. So, all right, let's keep it rolling here. We're off to the wide receivers.
Yep, off to those wide receivers. The fun part of fantasy football so far, not those boring running backs.
This year, yes.
All right, so Jamar Chase, his rookie year, averaged 23 points per game in half-point PPR, which is pretty good.
It was amazing.
Yeah, and his only two, in the 2 games against the Ravens last year. Yet you have him 2 spots lower than the consensus this week, which is wide receiver 5. You have him at 7. I need you to explain yourself a little bit here.
So yeah, Baltimore's down in the secondary. So yeah, I mean, Chase can go off. It's just not clicking for Chase right now. I mean, like, yeah, he has that potential to blow up, and he easily could do so. It just hasn't happened yet, right? And so we're seeing, a bunch of targets, 16, 9, and 10 the first 3 weeks. Last week was just 6 catches, though, outside of week 1, 5, 6, and 4. He's only caught 2 touchdowns on the year. All defenses have really rolled coverage his way, to where honestly Higgins has been the better player.
It's
on the year,
almost like an Antonio Brown effect a little bit, where Higgins isn't. Higgins gets the single coverage. Jamar's getting all the attention.
I mean,
take advantage.
Look, did I say in the preseason, right? I didn't say Chase was a bad pick. I just said I would rather not have to choose to take Chase and hope I could get Higgins later, because the value was way better. And I thought that Higgins could play, be a better fantasy player at the end of the year. Will it end up happening? I don't know. Like, Chase could go on a huge run here where, he scores like 6 touchdowns in 3 weeks, right? Because Chase has that ability to do it. I mean, but we are also talking like 1.5 difference in half PPR between these two. We are splitting hairs here between these guys. They are both phenomenal. But right now it's kind of leaning in Higgins' favor, and Chase, he's still just is relying on just big playability, which is awesome. But you're gonna see games like, you're gonna see games like, I'm trying to look up a score now where it was like 6 for 29, and he just thankfully fell into the end zone. But it wasn't really a great week, like 29 yards, ain't cutting it.
It's almost like, when Jamar Chase is struggling, this whole offense is kind of struggling a little bit.
Well, they got to fix the offensive line too, man.
This is true.
The fact that,
though they got to run the ball better, because everyone keeps saying, they just got to run the ball more. No, Joe Mixon's top 3 in total touches this year so far. I mean, so they're getting the ball just fine.
They're running, they're running it more. I'm trying to find.
It's just the efficiency is terrible.
Yeah, I had the stat after like the first 2 weeks. Burrow led the league in most sacks by like a wide margin, and I'm not sure that's the case anymore. But I mean, he led the league in sacks by a large amount last year. They've got to figure this out. They got to get this guy protection. Defenses are figuring out just get in his face, right? And he can't get the ball downfield to Chase.
Yep.
So that's what's working. And then they might get behind, and then they might try to get Mixon the ball a bunch, but it's not effective. And then they go away from it. So, yeah. I mean, I still like Chase a lot. The talent's there. It's just situations make you want to drop it a little bit.
That's funny. I just saw a tweet. I think both teams should consider punting on first down.
We're done. Let's just let did Wilson just throw a pick? Yeah, that was horrible.
Yes, he did. And he's
hurt now. Yeah, oh no, you idiot.
Tackling the guy who picked the ball. Oh no.
No, he tried to go tackle and like got I don't know. Who knows what happened. There's also a
Colts player hurt too. Interesting. All right, we can move on.
So the score is 6-9. Sorry, I had to do it. We got to get something funny out of this game, right?
It's got to be some entertainment.
Just kneel it out, boys. I like Scampers. You're funny.
Just kneel it out.
So we do have a question from Scampers, by the way. Half PPR, please rank Garrett Wilson, Juju, Khalil Herbert,
or Monty,
with Monty playing, assuming he does.
Oh.
I actually am not totally sure he will. So, but if you want me to rank it with Khalil, with Monty playing, I'm gonna go Wilson, Juju, Herbert. Now, if Monty doesn't play, you're putting Herbert to the front of the pack.
I agree with you on Wilson. I believe Monty, if he plays, will be on a snap count, so I still believe Herbert should go before Juju, and then it's Juju. So Garrett Wilson, Khalil Herbert, Juju for me.
Okay. All right. Last receiver.
I just can't get behind Juju anymore. I have so many shares of him, and he's just frustrating the hell out of me. All right. Christian Kirk. God, has he been good this year? What was he? Wide receiver 40-something going into the year, preseason? He's wide receiver 7 on the year. You got him ranked as wide receiver 12, which I love this week against, again, the Texans seems to be a theme. I'm kind of curious with this production, with Trevor Lawrence showing this improvement. Do you see Christian Kirk as a lock for a wide receiver 1? Kind of moving forward these next couple of weeks, or is he going to just be on this fringe and kind of revert back to the mean?
He'll be rotating around that 12 probably to now have it look to next week or the week after type of thing. Yep. Again, I don't do rest of season rankings. That's Richard Seville. basketball, check out the site. He's actually really, really good at them. He's going to fall into that. He might bump into like the 10 range, depending on the matchup. He might drop all the way down to like 18. There's a lot of dudes that are really good, right? You're talking a lot of guys there. They can kind of mix and match there. Waddle, Sutton, Marquise Brown, if he's, Mike Williams, Metcalf, Pittman, Godwin, Olave. There's a lot of dudes. They're all good. It's going to be matchup based. At that point, I don't see Kirk jumping into the Chase, Devo, Adams, Tyree, Jefferson, Diggs, Cup range. Those top 6, 7 guys, they're kind of locked into that range most weeks. And they're not really going to go anywhere. So he's not jumping up there, but he's good into that like low end wide receiver 1, mid range wide receiver 2 for the rest of the year. The targets he's seeing is just crazy good. Last week again, ignoring it. We didn't see that. Just a bad game. Just a bad game, guys. Like, don't worry about it.
What happens with receivers? It's one of the most inconsistent
positions. The other problem with him, right, his touchdown upside might not quite be there. Now he has 3 on the year, but I don't know if we can truly count on that. Zay Jones is really coming around. They still got Marvin Jones. They've got some dudes.
The ghost of Evan Ingram.
And who knows, man? Like if ETN actually figures the shit out, maybe we'll get there with him. So
I think he played baseball in a former life because just bat the ball down. We'll move on here to our last question then, and on to the tight end. And all right, TJ Hawkinson, man. All right, quick little tidbits nugget for you. Had a monster performance last week. We all know that. But did you know this was the 6th best performance from a tight end all time in half-point PPR?
I did not know that, but did you know he set a record for most yards by Detroit Lions tight end?
I'm surprised that if it wasn't for Megatron, it might be
right.
Anybody.
We also had a Calvin Johnson, Calvin Johnson Megatron, and they had somebody else really, really good there. I'm not blanking on name. Lions receivers.
I can't. They went through so many.
They did. They had a lot of good.
I remember when they drafted the other Mike Williams.
Yeah.
But so there's a question behind this. Obviously, you have him 2 spots lower than the consensus at. He's at tight end 4 for the consensus. You got him at tight end 6. Do you not believe this is the year of the Hawk?
I don't. Let's be real. Like before this week has been pretty dismal for him. New England, they're not what they used to be, but they're still pretty good. I'm also expecting at least DJ Shark back this week. I'm not really sure if Amon-Ra is going to come back. It doesn't sound like it. Swift is out. So, he's going to see a better target share this week than, he had those first couple of weeks. He's also questionable himself. And I know we'll get to that. But he did return to practice today, so things are looking up, so he might play. But, with some guys coming back and a tougher opponent on the road, you got to lower expectations just slightly again. He wasn't good before last week.
You don't believe in an offense that's number 1 in the league in scoring right now in the Detroit Lions?
Not quite. Not with some missing.
It feels weird to say too. Still.
It does feel weird to say. Tell that to Dave Eddy. See what he says.
He probably doesn't want to acknowledge it.
He probably doesn't. All right, let's finish things off here with some injuries, and I'll just rip through these and ask you where I feel like we need to go here. So quarterbacks, we got Jameis Winston. He's questionable. Didn't practice the game with that back, and apparently a knee injury as well. Andy Dalton time again. Yippee. Brian Hoyer is on the IR, so we've got Bailey Zappi. Woo!
Woo! That was a very well choreographed woo without even planning it.
I know, right? Mac Jones, obviously. I mean, limited practice. That dude, there's no way he plays, in my opinion. Dude, he was like
I think he's just showing his leadership.
Who knows, man? Daniel Jones. Now, this one's interesting, right? So, Daniel Jones last week left the game with an ankle injury. Tyrod came in, got hurt himself. Dude, this guy has the worst luck. I feel so bad for Tyrod.
Someone needs to find him a 4-leaf clover.
I don't even know, man. And then Jones came back in because legit the Giants didn't have a third quarterback on the team.
I remember hearing that he mainly came in just to play call plays, and he was a decoy just as a wide receiver. That was the only reason of him being in when Saquon was running the Wildcat, was for him to call the plays, because he has the headset. They couldn't get it to Saquon.
That was nuts, man. So he's limited practice. I mean, like, I guess he'll play. It's a weird one.
I don't think he'll play. I remember seeing that they who was it? They signed somebody from the practice squad. I already remember. I know they did.
They had to sign somebody because they needed at least a backup.
Yeah, they signed Davis Webb, I think it was.
I don't know, man.
Move on. I don't think
it doesn't matter, man. This whole offense sucks out of Saquon. Just hand the ball out to Saquon. Say bye. We're good.
Wait, this is a perfect time. Suck it, Keith.
It's hard to say that because they actually have a winning record now.
I know.
I'm gonna do it anyway. Yeah, suck it, Keith. All right, so running backs, Cordero Patterson. We didn't talk about this earlier because I knew we were talking about it here. The knee injury. He's on the IR. This dude has been amazing again to start the year. Unfortunately, he's going to miss at least 4 weeks. But now, who is the guy for you in Atlanta for the next 4 weeks?
I'm hoping. My heart says Tyler Algier. The guy looked really good. He carried Grant Delpit on a run, and it just looked awesome to watch. But the way this offense has been, they like to mix and match a little bit, even with Cordell Patterson. You know, he was the main rushing guy, but he wasn't getting the passing work. So it's a mix and match type of backfield here where it's going to be a hot hand approach, I think, going forward with the rookie in Tyler Algier, Caleb Huntley, and you can't forget about Damian Williams coming off IR.
Right. Yep.
It's not going to be this week, but it'll be soon.
Yeah. I mentioned them in my article that came out today for Fantasy Six Pack. I said the same thing. I think Algier is going to be like the main guy. The interesting part is that Huntley got all the red zone work.
Yeah.
It's
weird.
And he scored because of it, right? And so, but
and
then like as soon as Williams comes back, you're like, well, now what? So that's going to be interesting.
It'll probably be some 3-headed, ugly monster backfield.
I think did Wilson just throw another pick?
I saw an upset Broncos fan, so.
Jesus, this game is so bad, dude. I take back all my Wilson plus talk that I had after last week. Never mind. Take it all back.
I mean,
that never happened. All right, Alvin Kamara questionable with a rib limited practice today. Sounds like they're really expecting him back. DeAndre Swift is going to be out. They haven't declared him out, but he's going to be out. David Montgomery questionable with an ankle, upgraded to limited practice. So if he practices on Friday, that's a huge sign that he'll play. So you just have to keep that in mind when you're doing that. Breece Hall popped up with a knee, like bumps and bruises or whatever they're calling it, limited practice. That could just be, they're just saving him, trying to rest him, not overwork it. Rashad Penny questionable with a shoulder, did not practice. Now that was Wednesday. Did not get the update before the show today, but so keep an eye out for that. Another question before we jump in the receiver: would you do Mike Evans and Godwin for Waddle and AJ Brown?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because again, you are increasing your ceiling by getting rid of 2 receivers.
Although, man. I wish we knew how long Tua was out.
I still think Bridgewater is capable enough to get Waddle the ball within 5 yards, and Waddle can do his thing.
That's true. And I just love what Hurst and AJ Brown are doing right now. So I love that. I do like
I
that.
just don't like
here we go. Scammers to the rescue. Rashad Penny, a full participant today. So yeah. I guess we missed it.
I didn't see that update before the show.
Yeah, I mean, it must have come really late. So thank you, Scampers. Receivers, Marquise Brown, limited practice with a foot. Rashad Bateman, questionable with a foot. It did not practice, so yikes. Isaiah McKenzie, we're trying to recover from that concussion. Limited practice, that's positive, but he still got some work to do to come back. Michael Thomas did not practice with a foot injury. Keenan Allen, questionable with a hamstring, did not practice again, not looking good. Amon Ra, ankle, did not practice, same thing. Tyreek Hill, quad, limited practice. I kind of feel like he'll probably just play, but this is like, veteran, you're giving the Thursday off, you'll be fine. Curtis Samuel, illness, did not practice. I think that one's just like, obviously, if you're feeling better, you'll play. Jahan Dotson, hamstring, did not practice. Sounds like he's expected to miss a couple of weeks.
Yes.
So here's the thing, and we got a question on our Discord about this. If Samuel and Dotson both don't play, how much do we bump up Logan Thomas? Because then you're talking it's McLaurin and Thomas,
and McKissick.
Yeah,
that's where I think probably it's going to be McKissick and Logan Thomas that are going to be the beneficiaries of that.
I definitely throw Logan Thomas into that. He's definitely a heavy streamer. He's already kind of close to that territory right now with me kind of predicting that Samuel will play. But if
he's borderline streamer with the targets he has gotten already with Dotson and Samuel already in the lineup. So if they are out, one of them's even out. I mean, it is definitely an uptick for.
I think that's what you've got to look at with those two being out. Is not like who's the next man up with the receivers. It's Logan Thomas becomes a very viable play here.
It's not Nyhiem Brown.
Caden, the Colts fan, is also saying, would you do Evans for Brown straight up?
Yes.
That's super close to me. Only because you have Godwin, and I kind of want to split up that's why, yes. The lean on Tampa. But otherwise, I think I'd rather have Evans than Brown. Just slightly.
Yeah, it's fairly even. I mean, that's
a good swap. I like that.
It is a fair.
If you can do the first one, I would do that one. I would do that one too.
That is fair.
I want to rip Tyler. I want to rip my house out having Wilson as my QB in several leagues. You and me both, man. You and me both. Man,
I'm sorry. This is so much worse.
I would rather have Fields. No, you wouldn't. Nope. All right. Finishes off. CeeDee Lamb, groin, didn't practice, says he's fine. Doesn't want to scare anyone. And Deontay Johnson. This one actually popped up, I think, today. He got added to the injury, and that's never good, guys. So definitely something we're going to have to keep an eye out for. Hip injury, limited practice. T. Higgins, ankle, limited practice. DJ Shark, ankle, didn't practice. Josh Reynolds, ankle, didn't practice. Zay Jones, ankle, didn't practice. Hunter Renfrow, concussion, limited practice. There we go. He's finally coming back, hopefully. Waddle, groin, limited practice. Jacoby Myers, knee, limited practice. Chris Godwin, knee, limited practice. Julio Jones, knee, limited practice. Russell Gage. That's just like all the Tampa receivers. I mean,
it's your weekly
hamstring, limited practice. Treylon Burks, doubtful toe, didn't practice. He's not playing this week, fellas.
Robert Woods.
I give a slight boost to Robert Woods, man. I really do. I kind of like him. Tannehill's not awesome, but I like it.
How about the tight end, Austin Hooper? Is he streamer worthy with out Treylon Burks in the lineup this week? Kind of like that Logan Thomas.
Where do I have him? Because I think I already have Burks out. So
because everybody's asking tight end questions.
Yeah, damn. No, apparently not. Where the hell do I have him? I thought I had him higher than that.
No,
I don't. No, Hoover's not a thing. Nah,
I
not worth it. I need to see him
no,
like 2 targets a game. It doesn't matter. So, got a couple more questions. This is a popular question show. I love it. But all right, let's see here. Anthony Persia, should I trade Najee Harris away for James Robinson? No, I can't do that quite yet. I'm not going that far yet. I already have Sanders, Damian Pierce, Jeff Wilson, Shad Penny. I just keep Harris. I'll just keep
even
Harris.
With the decrease in the usage for Najee Harris, the usage is still higher than James Robinson.
I also just want to see more out of what's going to happen when Pickett's on this field. Nicholas Silva, what about Fournette plus Gabe Davis for Dalvin? I would take Dalvin.
Stevenson, Fournette, Rashad White, Hall. Man, I do like having if you could get Dalvin Cook and having Ramondre Stevenson.
And he's going to get D-Hop back. So his receivers are Gabe Davis, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, D-Hop, and Pickens.
And with you getting D-Hop back, go and trade.
Here's the thing. Do you guys realize how low Gabe Davis's like target share is on this team? It's bad. It's not good, folks. I know we all love it, and he's scoring some touchdowns. His target share is 6.9%.
Yeah,
it's tied with Jamison Crowder. Now, granted, he missed a week, but still not good. Yeah,
Gabe Davis is going to be inconsistent all
year. On the season is 8.7, so I'll take that back. But still, not good.
I think you do that trade.
Yeah, I like that. Tyler, on a serious note, Keenan this week, or is he a no-go? You think? I don't think he's going to play. It sounds like he's not practicing still. I mean, he's projected for 15. I like if he plays, you throw him in there. I think you just kind of have to, unless you've got really good options. But
pay attention to tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the deciding factor because, like I said, 3 straight days with no practice. So if he can squeeze in a limited practice on a Friday, he'll play. It's just a matter of how well he does.
Yeah, it seems doubtful to play, though, in my opinion. So
it really does.
Tight ends here. Kyle Pitts, questionable. The hamstring didn't practice. That might be a blessing for some people. You just don't have to play him. He has been the Pitts. Sorry, I had to do it. Dawson Knox, questionable with the foot, didn't practice. And TJ Hawkinson, obviously, with the hip injury, didn't practice.
I seen a.
Although, actually, I guess Hawk did practice today, so I think we do know that now.
It was limited practice. I seen a great tweet today. I can't remember who tweeted it out. I feel so bad. But they said when Kyle Pitts was out, he goes, Arthur Smith, really, practicing like he is in a real game, not having Kyle Pitts in the starting lineup.
That's good. That's really good.
Dwayne McFarland. That was the one who tweeted.
Yeah, he's a funny guy, man. I like Dwayne McFarland. He's a funny dude. Alrighty, so we are looking at still a 6-9 ball game. This is just good lord. This is a terrible.
I mean, I thought playoff baseball didn't start till October or November. It's like late October. You know what I meant.
You don't know baseball at all. So no, you're wrong. But yeah, it's not good, guys. It's not good. Not good at all. All those good feelings about Russ after last week have gone down the absolute.
Man, it's like every other time you look too, there's a flag. I don't know. The Broncos need to get their shit together. They cannot just have double-digit flags each week.
Yeah, I don't know what to think, but all right, guys. I want to thank you for tuning in. It was a great show. I hope everything's okay with AJ. And we will catch you all next week. And good luck in week 5. And again, hit those subscriptions up, guys. And you can ask us all the questions your heart's desire on Discord. And we'll give you all the help you can ask for. I'm tuning out here. Good night, Mike.
Good luck.